Dentists have read it. Why do you talk to your clients when they obviously cannot respond? Dentist here. We talk to our clients 1. To let them know we don't know think they are pieces of furniture or inanimate objects we are working on. 2. If they are on gas, to check the level of sedation. 3. To pass the time for all of us. 4. To distract them from the procedure. At the start of every visit, I tell my patients to raise their left hand if they have anything they want to communicate, so they don't accidentally knock over instruments or disrupt what I'm doing by raising their right hand. If I expect a long answer or see the patient wants to communicate more than yes or no, I tell them to hold that thought, then I take the mouth prop and suction out so they can elaborate. We can understand quite a bit of garbled speech and body language actually. My theory is that they like the feeling of my tongue slobbering against their warm hands. My dentist does it the best. She asks a question when I'm able to talk and then tells some story when I'm unable to. She's very interesting and fun and makes my dentist experiences enjoyable. Lol. Dentist here. This thread is hilarious and has some truth to it. Some of y'all would make horrible dentists or are just assholes. It's sometimes for distraction from what's in your mouth, genuine conversation, we can still understand you a fair bit, or because we know we are gonna take the stuff out of your mouth in just a second when we finish asking the question. There's no recognized course that I'm aware of that teaches how to understand this type of speech, you just kind of pick it up. It's sometimes a joke because we know you can't respond, but lets you know what we are thinking about. If we seriously don't want your tongue wiggling around, it's whenever you hear the high-pitched whistling drill. Then again, if when we're in your mouth, please don't start going nuts with your tongue. We do often have sharp objects in there. Great questions, everyone. Keep them coming. I'll get to you all in time. Finally get to say RIP my inbox. For the same reason your server only asks how your meal is when your mouth is full. But they always understand what you are saying somehow. It's like they can read your mind, because how the fuck you got yeah school is okay out of millimeter mm. When getting my wisdom tooth pulled, the doctor told me on the count of 3, and he did it at 2, and while my mouth was locked open I called him a fucking liar. Everyone in the room laughed, and then they pumped the nose, or whatever for the next tooth. Awesome experience tbh. I assume it must be like when parents understand the pure gibberish their toddlers say. I am looking at the kid thinking EUREDWTF did he just call me? But the parents like he wants to show you his new Tonka Truco Rentheo right. Hang around long enough and you learn to decipher the noises I guess lol. Edit. Thanks for the awards. I am on a DNDEG. As an introvert patient, I love doctors and dentists who rock a lovely playlist and get to work without bothering me with small talk when I cannot answer. I used to go to Thailand for dentistry. The dentist and his nurses would chat in Thai, so I would just tune out. Then suddenly realize he had just asked me a question after hearing the same sounds repeated 2 or 3 times. They do it to fuck with you. My dad's a dentist, but he doesn't have Reddit, so I asked him for this. Apparently they can respond. I suppose he developed the ability to understand people talking with sharp things on their mouth. He say facts. He distracts. But most of all, he extracts. My dentist talks to me in a way that I don't have to respond. Like describing what's doing and what's coming next, recommending stuff I should do to care for my teeth really sets up a comfy vibe. To watch them squirm. /friend who is in dentistry school. A lot of responses made me laugh. It's uncanny how many of us share similar sentiments. I have a dentist's appointment tomorrow and slightly apprehensive about the experience that awaits me. My dentist makes jokes while working in my mouth and has a tendency to ask questions that cannot be answered. Funny story, one time I had a stretchy latex covering in my mouth what are they called, while getting a root canal, and reclined pretty far back in the chair with a tool deep in my mouth. That made me gag, to which my dentist says, "Looks like we have a gagger." Him and his assistants all burst out laughing. Awkward moment that was. Couldn't contain myself either, and resembled someone having a tremor. Still funny to this day. Follow-up question, what are we supposed to do with our eyes? My uncle, who passed away in July from COVID, would calm his patients down by singing to them. He had this special way of making the most nervous people safe in his chair. He'd make jokes and sing Sinatra and Dean Martin for them. It was his favorite. At his wake in July I had countless people come up and tell me how at ease he put them. They all felt connected to him in their own unique way it seemed. Miss you every day Uncle Chuckery 143. My dentist told me to say stop when I felt pain, but there is some tube that collects liquid and mouth prop on my mouth, so I just tapped her when I felt the pain. Ha 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 ha. I once went through a 4-hour long root canal session and he never said a word the entire time. It was the third attempt by a specialist. I have freakishly long roots. When I got my upper wisdom teeth extracted it opened air passing holes from my mouth to my sinuses. I couldn't say words with P or B in them for several weeks without reopening a hole, and slept with a tube taped to my lip to prevent forming pressure/suction in my sleep. How else would I sell them an updated warranty on their car? Dental assistant here. I like to talk so that it makes time pass quicker. There is only so many hours you can sit with a suction in someone's mouth before it gets super repetitive. Having said that, I tend to ask yes or no questions and tell the patient to answer me with their thumb. I also gauge it. Some people clearly enjoy the interaction and appreciate the distraction. Others just want to sit with headphones on and tune out. Don't be afraid to tell us what will make the experience easier for you, cause at the end of the day, we honestly want you to be as comfortable as possible. If you make it obvious you just want to lay in silence, we won't be offended. Just tell us. If you find me hilarious, then let me know, and every time you come in I will chat your ear off. I had a dentist with jokes on the ceiling. Jokes. Patients spontaneously smiling and gagging. He didn't change them either. Because ratra twera bra bru agraria. My latest dentist doesn't do any small talk, so I'm convinced she hates me, and I feel even more tense when I go there. Makes me appreciate the friendly ones, even if you have to reply gara mmm as saliva drips down your chin. For the thrill. It's swell, though they tell me I'm maladjusted. Patient here who had quite a bit of stuff done. They tell me what they're doing, what they find, also for distractions. Once, I had my phone with me for dental surgery. I had to reply with it, answered questions back and forth with the phone. Now it took longer than expected, and the anesthesia wore off. Their voices kept me distracted from the pain. You have to answer them with your mind. The X-Men have a deal going with the dentists and it's how they search for people with telepathic abilities. I tried to answer, then my dentist said I should not try talk. Like the rest of the thread, not a dentist, but I think distraction might be an important tactic. So getting you to think about something else outside of the immediate experience may be beneficial. We do it so our patients feel comfortable. A lot of time we don't want their anxiety to peak, but sometimes it's accidental. I usually laugh when my patients try to talk back and apologize. Dentist here. A couple of reasons why I would speak to patients. First, all dentists know that the patients can't answer when we are working in their mouths, so we ask for signs such as a thumbs up/down, a left hand up, to signal something wrong etc. 1. I want to see how they are doing during the course of a procedure. 2. Talking without patients can distract them from a lengthy procedure that they might be anxious about. 3. It helps me foster a relationship with my patient. I'll let my patient know that I don't just see them as a procedure, but as someone I care for and genuinely want them to get to know me from small talk when they come to the office. My dad is my dentist and he always asks me questions, as if he doesn't live with me and can't ask them at any other time. As someone who has been in the chair more often than I should be, talking with a dentist can be pretty difficult with a drill and a suction tube in your mouth, but the ones I've had usually get the gist of what I'm saying. It's even more difficult when you've got that plastic thing in your mouth that holds your mouth open. They seem to be pretty efficient at interpreting body language and eye contact. Also yelps and screams. Sorry to all the people I freaked out at my first tooth extraction. That dentist was not very comforting and kept telling me to be quiet. Orthodontist here. It's mostly just a distraction tactic because a lot of people are nervous about dental work. I don't always expect you to respond, but it's just to take your mind of what I'm doing at the moment. It's even better if you can't respond at that moment, because then your mind is preoccupied with the question and your response. It's also comforting to hear a human voice while lying down in my chair, so sometimes I end up monologuing. Why do you talk to your pets when they can't respond? Interesting question. Humans communicate more with body language, not just with words, or a shake or a nod of the head. There's also eye movement, facial muscles, shoulder orbitals, and breathing patterns. Dentists are trained to gauge your emotional state. It's basic bedside manner with a sprinkle of confessional. BTW, I'm not a dentist. I just think too much. Edit, you to your